What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News. Today, I want to discuss last night's UFC Kansas City. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly to help the channel grow. All right, guys, getting right into it. We had a pretty fun card last night, UFC Kansas City. It showed out from the prelims to the main card, all the way to the main event. And guys, starting from the top, Ian Garry defeats Carlos Prates by unanimous decision in a fight where, Gary just looked fucking sharp, dude. Controlled the fight. Good fight IQ. Just was very accurate. Had Carlos on his back foot most of that fight. The first 3 rounds, Gary, just did a lot of what he wanted. With Prates was just very hesitant. Paralysis by analysis. I was maybe thinking that he was probably waiting for the first couple rounds to go by. Maybe, and kind of, I think he was maybe worried a little bit about his gas tank and was hoping to kind of build up as the fight went on. And it seemed like anytime he was thinking about trying to throw anything, he was getting punched in the face by Gary. It was a really, really, really good performance by Ian Garry. And then, that 5th round, my word. Prates almost got him. He got the fight to the ground that last minute. He literally had Gary crawling away from him to survive that rest of the fight. So, it wasn't competitive for most of it until the end. But it was just one of those fights where, Prates, he did get rather dominated, but, he was the one with really nothing to lose in that fight. Number 13 in the world, taking on number, 3 or 5 in the world. Gary was the one really going in there, taking the big risk against the guy, on short notice against somebody who's ranked well below him. So this was a crazy good fight. In the sense of, the implications, because the first 3 rounds, it was just Ian looked so good. It was not very eventful, and it sucks too, because he's just, you want to like him, and then he opens his mouth right when the fight ended. The second they gave him the microphone, it's just like, all right, I'm done. He's obviously going to be next up for the title shot after what happens with Bilal and Jack Della, or if there's an injury that happens that takes place. Ian Garry is right back in the fold. We have everything going on with Joaquin Buckley as well, kind of calling out Ian Garry. But I'm not really sure if he's going to get that fight now, so I'm not sure where Buckley's going to fit in, because he's kind of the odd man out of that title picture. He's right there, though, right? But nonetheless, congratulations to Ian Garry on a big victory. And for Carlos Prates, I think that he's going to learn from this loss. He was on an 11-fight win streak. He was putting guys away left and right, so I don't think that he's going to lose any confidence. I think he had a pretty good reaction to the loss as well. And I think that he'll be back stronger than ever. He's only 31 years old. Next up, we had the retirement of Anthony Smith. He lost first round, ground and pound to Min Yang Zhang. And, Smith went out there and tried to make something happen. And that's, you can't ask for anything else, right? And Zhang went out there and was like, all right, you're gonna throw the heat, let's go, and met him right in the middle. It's exactly the type of fight that Zhang welcomes. And they delivered, a phenomenal first round, and Smith ended up not being able to withstand the power of Zhang in that fight, and lost and had an L for his retirement fight, and was a bit emotional after the fight happened. There was some fan, I think, just kind of egging him on in the stands, and Smith was giving him the finger, almost was going to go out of the octagon. Zhang had to go back and kind of stop him and kind of bring him back to reality. It's an emotional moment, and fans are fucking assholes, so it's a bit of a fickle group. The UFC gave Smith a really nice farewell tribute video, which is something they don't really do for everybody if you haven't seen online. But he is he's taken short notice fights. He's fought the up and comers. He's fought for the title. He's been a company man, and he's shown out, win or lose, every single time, and he deserved a tribute video. So if you want to sit there and say that he's a company man, that's why he got it, sure. But whether you want to deny if he's a good or bad ambassador for the UFC, you can't deny that he's a good ambassador for the sport and for the UFC. It's just how he views his own self sometimes kind of overshadows his career. But you have to have that delusional mindset to become successful, especially in combat sports. But Anthony Smith, thank you for everything you gave us in the MMA world and within the UFC. I've been a fan of yours for such a long time, and can't wait to see you now in the commentary booth and whatnot in the future. But as for Zhang, I'm really curious to see what he's going to do moving forward. There's a lot going on now. 205. He went 19-6. He's on 12 fight win streak, all first round. He's just confident, strong. Those elbows. He split Anthony's head open pretty good in that fight. So 26, 27 years old, now building a pretty good experience. He's going to be having a lot of confidence riding off of this win, and he's on a pretty good win streak now as it is. So I'm curious to see who they're going to match Zhang up with next. After that, David Onama defeated Giga Chikadze by decision, unanimous decision, in a fight I wasn't really sure if Onama took that one. I guess because he mixed the martial art a little bit more, but I felt like most of the fight, Giga was getting off a lot of the strikes on Onama. Onama got wobbled a few times. He was able at the end of the first, I think it was the end of the first round or second round, he was able to get that takedown. And he was able to kind of steal the end of the round by kind of switching it up, using his grappling. And that was enough for the judges for him to get the victory, and I picked him to get the win. But, after watching it, I felt like as a fight, Giga kind of delivered the most damage in that fight. So I didn't necessarily agree with the decision, but, it was a close fight, and sometimes, you can't leave it to the judges. But for David Onama moving forward, it's a big win for him. It's going to put him, in a good ranked position. At featherweight, I don't know, I think Duho Choi would be a fucking great fight for David Onama. I think, or maybe even Giga Chikadze. But Giga, I think in this fight too, doesn't lose any steam, but he's 36 years old. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him moving forward. I know we got Jeremy Stephens fighting next weekend. So I think win or lose for Jeremy Stephens, I think that he's going to sign again with the UFC. I think it was a one-fight deal. I think he'll sign again. And I would like to see maybe a Jeremy Stephens, David Onama, Jeremy Stephens, Giga Chikadze to continue going on that Jeremy Stephens train. I like the fact that he's going to be coming up here again this Saturday. Next up, man, we had a fight that I thought was going to be closer because a lot of people had Pereira over Abus. But, man, Abus Magomedov dominates Michel Pereira in a fight where it seemed like Michel was trying to not blow his wad so early, but then accumulated so much damage by Abus. He did not. He had such a high striking percentage in that first round. He could not. He was on fire in a flow state against Michel. Michel really just couldn't get anything going. Overly patient paralysis by analysis, taking pictures out there, and by the time that he was really starting to kind of put his foot on the gas, it was kind of already too late. And at the end of that third round, towards that third round, you saw Abus. You saw him getting a little bit tired from kind of just putting a beating on Michel for the first two rounds. You saw him kind of struggling to get away from Michel once he was putting his foot on the gas. So, great fight, man. Abus, I thought this was going to be a lot closer, but Abus really looked good in that fight. He looked good, strong. And I feel like he's putting that Sean Strickland loss really in the rear view mirror behind him now as he really starts to get himself back towards ranked opponents, and especially beating Pereira, who I think was 13. He will probably now see himself with a number next to his name. As for Michel, it's 2 in a row now. He's struggled fighting guys his size. At 170, he's a bit of a bully. When he came up to 185, he was able to kind of go through those top 30, top 25 guys. Now he's reached those upper echelon dudes who are his size and has his skill level. And now we're starting to see him struggle a little bit. But in this fight, it seemed like he wanted to conserve his gas tank a little bit. Maybe he thought that Abus would blow his wad and he'd be able to take over later on in the fight, and it just didn't really seem to work out that way. I'm not really sure what happened in that fight. Maybe there was an injury, but he definitely was not himself to start that fight. But nonetheless, big victory for Abus Magomedov and for Pereira. I don't really think he's going to lose a lot of steam. He's an exciting fighter, but I just think that with 2 losses in a row, maybe take some time off, heal up the body a little bit, and start back strong up maybe at the end of the summer. But phenomenal fight, man. Both guys fucking showed out in that fight. Next up, Randy Brown knocks out the first guy to knock out Nicholas Dalby in his entire MMA career, 30-fight MMA career. In just a back and forth, Randy Brown looked long, sharp, crisp boxing. He put the nose of Dalby on the other side of his face. Dude, and then mid-round, they reset his fucking nose, and he was able to go back out into the second round and continue for about 90 seconds, and was even able to drop Randy Brown and kind of come back and was starting to show a little bit of fire, putting the pressure on Randy Brown, but then Randy was he just kept with it. He did not let the moment get away from him, and just kept strong. And once Dalby made it dirty, he got clipped in that tight phone booth type exchange and face down, ass up in the canvas. Randy Brown with the big victory, coming back after that loss to Brian Battle and all that controversy. So I'm sure it feels good for him to kind of just have that all behind him now and get back on a winning track and put away a guy who's never been put away like that before. So big win for Randy Brown. And as for Dalby, who's about 39 years old, you lost to a tough guy. A tough, long, strong guy, stinging punches. So I'd like to see him. He took a beating, let the nose heal a bit, let the brain heal a bit, and I'd like to see Dalby, obviously come back probably end of the summer, right? But man, that fight was fucking crazy. It's exactly why I love the sport of MMA, right? Just two dudes ready to just throw the fuck down. Next up, we have Ikram Aliskerov knocking out Andre Muniz in the very first round. You have Andre now at this point, who, was scary as all hell. He broke the arm of Jacare Souza. I think sent Souza into retirement. Was, just a huge, catapult to stardom. A win or two away from even possibly even getting a title shot. And then ran into, I think it was Brendan Allen, and just has not been the same since. What was his record? He's lost 3 out of his last 4. Brendan Allen, Paul Craig, Ikram Aliskerov, and the one win was Jun Young Park. But besides his fight with Jacare and Eric Anders, he just has not panned out to be the well-rounded guy. And after that fight with Brendan Allen too, you can definitely see the lack of confidence that he has had within the octagon. So with this loss too against Ikram, who himself had battled through adversity, jumped into the UFC fighting Robert fucking Whittaker. And I'm pretty sure that was his debut, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. He had the Phil Hawes fight and Warley Alves fight. But after losing to Robert Whittaker the way he did, just got dusted absolutely immediately. And then to come back and then just... Everybody thought that Muniz slipped, and it was just kind of like a weird thing. But no, he got clipped with that left hook, and you just saw his legs go out. Ikram, he looked big. He looked out of shape. But sharp, decisive, explosive. Still looked athletic, even though he looked flabby and out of shape. It was weird. And he covers distance very well. So, big victory for Ikram. Good for him to get back on the winning track, because after a big loss like that to a guy like Robert Whittaker, it's got to fuck with the confidence a little bit. So I'm happy to see him get a big victory over such a dangerous guy like Muniz, who, even though he's kind of on this weird track, he's still dangerous as ever. Next up, fight of the night, I think, almost. Matt Schnell, Jimmy Flick. These guys beat the dog shit out of each other. Back and forth. Jimmy Flick, just an absolute pit bull, going for it all. Grit, grind, determination, going for the submission throughout the entire fight, always looking for the finish. And Matt Schnell, he was willing to take the fight wherever, punishing Jimmy Flick on the feet, punishing him on the ground, also throwing good submissions, strikes on the ground, elbows on the ground. Matt Schnell, honestly, he is one of those guys where it's he's number 15 in the world, and anybody who's not is going to get fucked up by him. And Matt Schnell is just such an underrated guy in the flyweight division. And it's just, he'll never be top 5 unless he really just goes on some crazy Charles Oliveira, George Masvidal, hunting people down shit. But I mean, he's such a talented fighter, and against Jimmy Flick, who's equally just as talented, not as well rounded, but I mean, just a gritty fighter, always looking for the finish. You have you have your athletes, you have your fighters. He is a good mix of both, but just a fucking just a pit bull of a fighter, man. So I mean, this fight back and forth. I mean, and Matt Schnell, was he just showed he just had more in the tool belt. He had more in the gas tank, and he's just been there and done that, and was just able to just utilize all of his arsenal in that fight. So congratulations, guys, and thank you for a phenomenal fight. Next up, we had Evan Elder versus Gage Young. This one I can't talk too much about. I didn't watch too much of it. But Gage, he's the type of guy. What do you like? He's raw, like a diamond in a rough, and if he can just, just a lot like Jimmy Flick, but without the submission skills, kind of like the opposite, more of the striking version of Jimmy Flick. He's the type of guy he's gonna make it dirty. He wants to make it dirty. He wants to taste blood, and he wants to make his opponent pay. And against Evan Elder here too, who is kind of a very similar guy, but he seems to be a little bit more happy-go-lucky, a little more friendly than Gage Young, but a guy who has a lot of submissions, and in this fight, showcased some striking, and from what I did see, Evan looked to just be a step ahead. The fight seemed to slow down a little bit more for him. It seemed like he just a little bit more well-rounded than Gage in this fight. But I was kind of in and out. So I wasn't really paying too much attention, but I felt like every time I was watching the fight, I saw Evan just being the more slick, higher fight IQ experience, the more experienced guy out there, even though their record is about the same fight-wise. And Gage, I think that he's a young diamond in the rough guy. If he can just sharpen it up a little bit, find his punches a little bit better, utilize, I think, his footwork a little bit better, I think that we have a dangerous guy in our hands, Matt Brown-esque. Next up, guys, Chris Gutierrez defeats John Castaneda. I mean, weird that it was split, but it was back and forth. I mean, John, he was struggling with Chris. I mean, Chris was just going out there and just kind of doing what he needed to do. I mean, he's one of those guys where he's probably 12, 15 in the world. He might struggle against those top 5 guys, but I mean, if you put him up against anybody, he's going to give anybody a really hard time. And John Castaneda is just, he's a game opponent. He went out there, and even though he was getting outclassed, he was getting pieced up, he was kind of stuck in the mud, he was still kind of in it the whole time. So great fight by both guys. Damon Blackshear, Alatong Haley, I mean, just a good fight. I mean, Blackshear fights so long, tall, long, and lanky. Great submission, black belt, good kickboxing. He mixes up very well, good body kicks. And, 3 wins over the past 6 months. He stays active, he stays healthy, and I like that. He likes to stay within that mindset of what he's currently in. He's in that, he's just, what's the word? He's staying within the streak, that flow state. 3 wins in 6 months. He's sticking with a similar mindset where it's gonna carry through, right? And for Alatong Haley, great fighter. He looked good, but it's just, I think Damon, man, I think he's like one really good performance away from really figuring it out, right? But great victory for Blackshear, and same for Alatong Haley. Like, he doesn't really lose a lot of traction in this loss. I think that he is a battle-tested UFC veteran type guy, and I thought, I thought his kicks to the body were very sweet. So that was what I really took from in that fight. Next up, welcome to the UFC, Malcolm Wellmaker, knocking out Cameron Simon in his UFC debut 2 minutes in. I mean, just a devastating right hook. Put Simon to the mat. That's all she wrote. The kid, I mean, honestly, 9-0 now. Malcolm Wellmaker, he seems to just be on this, like, collision course for stardom. Like, he just has this aura about him where he's just so cool, calm, and collect, I guess is the way that I could put it. And he seems like he's ready for the moment. The lights didn't seem to get to him, and he just seems like he just has good energy about him. So power in his hands, good energy, positive mental attitude is what I sense from him. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do moving forward. We have a new prospect on our hands. And as for Cameron Simon, who at one point seemed to be in a similar position as Malcolm Wellmaker, now 9-3. He's had some tough losses to some good guys now. But after a 13-month layoff, you really have to wonder, what is it going to take for Cameron to find some better success within the UFC? And I really think it's strength. I think he's a tweener. I think it's time, I don't know if he has to take more time off, maybe go back to the regional scene, develop his man strength, maybe go through a Chase Hooper style type of development where, I think maybe put him up against some of the old guys who aren't really going to be there anymore. I'm not really sure how we're going to handle it. But with Cameron Simon, he might be getting cut after this most recent loss to Malcolm Wellmaker, but still a very talented guy, and I could definitely see him going on a tear outside the UFC on the regional scene and getting himself back within the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The Polyana Viana fight and Jacqueline Amarim, I did not watch the fight. I missed it. I think I took a shower, so we didn't have gas at the house for like 3 days, so I had to jump in and get it turned on. I took my chance, so I missed that fight. But as for Viana, she seems to be on a bit of a losing streak. She's probably going to end up seeing herself get cut here soon. But for Amarim, 10-1 submission victory. They're probably going to give her another big name next, or maybe somebody coming off of the Contender Series for her to build up off of. How many we got left? We got 2 left. Timmy Kawamba versus Roberto Romero. Man, you know what? That was a crazy fight because you had Roberto, who was walking forward the entire time. Where Timmy, where it was like you had the brawler versus the crisp striker, where Romero was just moving forward, throwing brutal shots, leg kicks, haymakers, and you had Timmy, who was just throwing a beautiful 1-2, getting out of the way, lateral movement, and then was just able to finally get him with heavy strikes there at the end of that. What was it? The second round. I remember he caught Romero with the head kick too early on in that second round, and I didn't fully. No, I do. Yeah, because he hit him with the knee and he went face down. That's what happened. And great fight, back and forth. You saw Romero kind of get up, but when you see a guy kind of go down with his face like that first, kind of defenseless in a sense, you kind of see him lose all sense of his motor functions. So I kind of understood the ref kind of stopping the fight there, but that's 2 in a row now for Romero. Who was his other loss to? Because he was on this card. I think it was David Onama. But he's fought some tough guys. I think this loss to Timmy is going to age well, but I think Romero's going to find himself cut maybe one more opportunity within the UFC. And as for Timmy, probably going to fight somebody off the Contender Series. He still has some things to sharpen up and round out, but damn, man, he looks dangerous, good hands, good kicks. Clearly a nice flying knee. Yeah, no, I'm really curious to see the growth of Timmy Kawamba moving forward. And then last but not least, guys, Jocelyn Edwards knocks out Chelsea Chandler. The writing was kind of on the wall with this fight. Chelsea, it was kind of weird. I don't know, even seeing her ranked. I don't know. That's kind of really all I have to say there. Isn't she the girl that got punched in the face and ran away in the octagon immediately? It wasn't against Norma Dumont. But needless to say, Jocelyn Edwards got the sweet knockout victory where, Jocelyn, she's now building up herself a nice little resume within the UFC. She's had some ups and downs with the fan base when it comes to the wins and losses of her career a little bit, but she seems to always kind of show up. They put her on the bottom of prelims and big cards, but she's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12 fights in the UFC already now. She's stacking them up. She's been there now 4 years. And, she's fought top competition, Aylin Perez, Jessica Rose Clark, Carol Rosa. She's fought some pretty good competition. She's right now on a 2-fight win streak, 2-finish win streak. I'm curious to see how this is going to go moving forward, But Jocelyn, she's, you know, I think she's just going to be one of those girls that they just kind of count on to fight these up-and-coming chicks or girls who are kind of on the down and outs until she kind of gets herself on a bigger streak. I think if you see Jocelyn finding herself on a 4 or 5 fight win streak, they'll probably start putting her against the upper echelon of the ladies in her division. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this card. If you guys have even made it this far in the video, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Mr. Mustache, MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.